Hi everyone, Ryan here from NJ Exotic Pets, here with a care video on blue-tongued skinks. Now today I've got my buddy Twinkie. He's a northern blue-tongued skink, which is the larger of the most of the subspecies. We're just going to go over general care of both northerns and the other subspecies. First things first, as you can see, my buddy here is quite large, and you can expect all of them to get close to, but not quite this size. Right, Twinkie? You're a big boy. Now, because of this, you're going to need usually around a 75-gallon tank when they're fully grown. Babies can be started into 20 and then moved up, but a 75-gallon or greater is usually where you're going to end up with these guys. They are diurnal lizards, which means they need full spectrum lighting. So something like a solar glow or bar UVB and heat, whichever fits your tank setup. Basking, these guys should be anywhere between 110 degrees, about an ambient temperature of mid-80s, and then no lower than 70 degrees at night. These guys are also burrowers, so be sure to give them a little more substrate than you would other lizards. Instead of about 1.5 to 2 inches, more like 3 to 4 inches worth of substrate. As for what kind of substrate, it varies depending on subspecies. They all need a soil-like substrate they can dig through, but northerns like it a bit drier, at between 40 and 60% humidity, whereas Indonesians, Halmaheras, and a number of the smaller subspecies need it between 80 and 100% humidity. So pick a soil base that will hold the appropriate amount of moisture. These guys should also be offered a decently sized water dish, something they can crawl in and out of, but not necessarily soak in. They should also be offered a cave and small lowland branches to climb on. They're not climbers, so you don't need to have a very tall tank, but having branches and other things for them to crawl on top of and over is good for their overall exercise, as they do tend to get a little bit chunky. As far as food goes, these guys are omnivorous, and they'll eat just about anything. So between insect feeders, rodents, poultry, dark leafy greens, fruit, you name it, they'll eat it. Similar to our Tegu video, you can make these guys a very nice little meatball using about 1 pound of ground turkey, 2 eggs, a handful of chopped bell pepper, about the size of fit in their mouth, and then blended greens, either a kale or a collard green, something like that, mashed up into meatballs that are roughly the size of the head of your skink, and then offered to them on a every other day kind of a basis, between 1 and 2 meatballs, depending on the size of your skink. If they're a little overweight, maybe just 1 meatball. If they're a baby and they're growing, 2 meatballs is fine. You also want to make sure you're adding the appropriate supplements to this, such as calcium, with D3 twice monthly, without D3 about 3 times a week. Other than that, they're not particularly difficult to care for. Just make sure you take them out and handle them a bunch. As Twinkie, you can see, is extremely docile and very handleable, but they don't come this way. They tend to be a little huffy when they're small, but when you work with them, you get, well, a big chunky boy like this. Now, if a big tube of a lizard seems to be something you're interested in, and you like these funny little faces, you can come and check these guys out here at NJ Exotic Pets. Say bye, Twinkie. Bye, everyone.